All the silly little animals sleeping by the side of the road, or how I learned to bemusedly deal with these strange and lovely dystopian times without you. A.K.A. The Tragedy of My Rival Self-Published Novelist. Brought to you by December 5th Productions. Chapter 9. Just Another Celebrity Sighting. Rain fell dramatically on the restaurant's awning. The drainage chambers next to the sidewalk were filled to the brim. Cars passed by the restaurant. Tires skidded through puddles. Street lights buzzed. Drones roamed over the town center. The drones produced a peculiar sound. The drones hovered over the restaurant. You could see the drone's red light. The street lights continued to buzz. The killer alpaca was out somewhere, completing its menacing killing spree. The drones failed to identify the alpaca's current whereabouts. The rain and condensation made the drones nearly impossible to see. It was a very gray day, grayer than gray. It was grayer than the concept of the color gray, if that made sense. The clouds condensed so low you couldn't see the sidewalk across the road. Luckily, you never needed to see anything in order to cross the road. You didn't even have to look anywhere. Right before my shift started, all the streetlights faded out. This was the night a celebrity made a reservation to dine at our restaurant. Her reservation was for 7:15 p.m. The chefs showed up at 5 a.m. to prepare for her appearance. They peeled potatoes. They seasoned and marinated steaks, chicken, and an assortment of fish. Lobster meat was harvested for a smooth bisque. The usual menu was scrapped. The celebrity's review of the restaurant could bolster our merit. Her presence alone could bring our restaurant major acclaim. This was a world-renowned actress. She was on the cover of magazines. Apparently, she performed in a film adaptation of a famous play, though I wasn't certain. I didn't know the celebrity's name. I didn't even bother looking her up. I felt that the best way to get to know the celebrity was to meet her in person, instead of being influenced by the things written about her on the internet, even if those things were true. I arrived at the restaurant 10 minutes early. I wore my uniform. I was prepared to provide my services to each customer that entered the establishment. I set up the bar. I cut fruit. I juiced fruit. I organized the glassware. I accidentally nicked my finger cutting a lime. It stung. A sliver of blood leaked out. It was a beautiful sight, in a way. It was the size of a paper cut. I observed my minor injury for quite some time. I thought about how special my blood was. I thought about how much it costed. I thought about how much was needed by my vital organs. I felt compelled to attempt minor surgical care. If surgeons could do it, why couldn't I? I sanitized the wound. I dried the area. I tried to stitch the skin back together with a needle I found in the break room. This made the cut wider and deeper. I bled even more. The needle I used to provide myself stitches got stuck in my finger. I forgot to disinfect the needle. The whole process took longer than intended. Why did I do it? Did I feel on edge because a fellow self-published novelist formally stated that he would kill me? Eventually, I settled for a Band-Aid. All the while, my manager discreetly distributed these clear plastic packets to customers upon their request, as per usual. The packets had bits of salt-sized rocks. I figured these were a rare type of Himalayan salt, perhaps produced and harvested through expensive foreign labor. I figured that these rocks of salt could be ground up or dissolved into a bolognese, a ragu, a risotto, etc. These packets were given in exchange for a specific amount of cash. There was a transaction. My manager sold these in a low quantity. His customers returned multiple times per week. Sometimes, his customers would come back multiple times throughout a shift to purchase more. Even though this was an unregulated side business for my manager, I decided not to say anything to the owners of the restaurant. I respected his hustle. Right when I resumed setting up the bar, it was 7:15 p.m. A few patrons were seated in the dining room. None of them needed any beverages aside from water. A few people went in and out looking around for my manager. So far, I didn't have to craft any beverages. Suddenly, my mother called the restaurant. The hostess gave me the phone. My mother breathed and hung up. I held the phone for a moment and tried to figure out why my mother called. Was there a family matter of importance? Was there a death in the family? Were authorities at our house looking for me? Was I finally being caught for my crime? Was Engram Latavius holding her hostage as a ploy to get me? When would I be killed? Another person called our restaurant's landline. Since I still had the phone, I answered. I couldn't understand what the person was saying. It must have been a different language. I hung up, and I called my mother back. Mom, did you call me? Ah, yes. Yes, I did. I couldn't see you too well from the window here, so I thought I would call to make sure you were still alive. Oh, okay, I said. I walked over to the window of the restaurant. I saw my mother seated at her desk in the Pilates studio. I saw her. She saw me. I waved. She nodded. She hung up. I felt heartened. I felt heartened that my mother was so protective over me. I returned the phone back to the hostess, and the phone immediately rang again. My manager patted the hostess on the back and approached me. His mouth twitched. He scratched his forearm. My manager explained the current situation. All right, look at that table outside. There she is, under the awning. She's the one with the red fleece. That is your top priority tonight. I don't care what you do. All I need you to do is to ensure that that woman has an unbelievably pleasurable dining experience at a restaurant. I nodded. I don't care how you do it. You are welcome to take her into the restaurant's bathroom for the rest of your shift, for all I care. Make sure she gives us a good review. I know your methods get results, even though they are unconventional. I trust you. If there's anyone that could treat this celebrity right, it's you. It's got to be you. I nodded again, though I didn't understand everything he said. I felt pretty out of it due to my doctor's appointment earlier that day, which took a toll on me physically. Great. Go get him. I brought out a bottle of spring water to place on the celebrity's table. This bottle of premium spring water was worth more than the cost of emplacing a new water filtration system in a war-torn village. It was the celebrity's favorite. I opened the front door of the restaurant. I approached the outdoor dining area. There was one outdoor table claimed by patrons, and that outdoor table was the one where the celebrity and her friend were seated. Due to the weather, it was a peculiar time to sit outside. It rained so treacherously. It was strange that the hostess sat the pair outside. Fortunately, the weatherproof exterior of the awning kept the two safe. The hostess must have been nervous, or perhaps the celebrity had matters of business to discuss which needed to be kept private. I placed the bottle of spring water at an empty table and took out my notepad. I stared directly at an empty seat and orated the specials. At this, the celebrity laughed. The table I stood in front of was the wrong table. She called me over to her table. I said, "Oh, wrong number. Wrong table. Table." I approached her table. I dropped my notepad on the way. I picked up the notepad and greeted the celebrity. "Hi, you look familiar, but I don't know from where," I said. She chuckled at the statement. "Well, I'm not sure where that would be either, but here I am." "Here you are," I said. I paused for a moment. "Oh, I know what it is. One time, I thought I saw you jogging on the side of the road, and so I followed you for 4 miles. I made multiple U-turns to keep up, though when I finally went over to say hi, it turned out that it wasn't you." She slid her elbows onto the table and held her chin with the knuckles of her closed hands. She smiled. Her smile glinted, somehow. "Now, would you like me to tell you the specials?" She didn't respond to me. She playfully touched my forearm. I told her the specials. "And is there anything on the menu that you find particularly enticing?" I asked. The celebrity and her friend ordered an abundance of appetizers. They requested to split multiple dishes. There were many specifications. Each of them wanted me to note to the chef, in regards to preparing the dishes. "Don't put onions on that one. I'll have extra capers on mine. That one needs to have lemon zest sprinkled on the edge of the plate. Can I have a rare, medium rare? Make sure the feta cheese is on the drier side, not moist. Vegan feta cheese. I need the vegan alternative. You know what I'm saying, right? And let's order some plant-based mashed potatoes." Mashed potatoes are plant-based. The milk needs to be dairy-free, is what I mean. I nodded my head along to each pause in the request. It all made sense in the moment. It felt as though puzzle pieces were placed perfectly into their intended locations. I understood everything. I understood every syllable of every word the two of them spoke. It was all in my head. I assured them countless times that I had memorized everything. To me, it was as simple as basic remedial arithmetic. It was the alphabet to a first grader. I stored the entire conversation inside the inner workings of my brain. I finished writing everything down. I went into the break room to type up the order. I read over my writing. I realized I made scribble marks all over my notepad. My manager came over. You did unbelievably well. I watched the entire interaction. The chemistry you had with her was absolutely electric. He gave me a shoulder massage. This relaxed me. He offered to perform sexual acts on me, if I so wished. On the way back to the dining room, my manager dropped a packet of that ingredient he sold on the side on the floor. I picked it up so I could give it back to him later. I put in the order for the celebrity's table. The order was not even close to the one the celebrity requested. I couldn't remember what I had the kitchen cook for her. I returned to the table. I asked the celebrity if her and her friend would like any drinks aside from their bottled spring water. The celebrity shook her head and went on to tell quite a fascinating story about why she didn't drink. If I drink so much as a drop of alcohol, I will spontaneously combust. Of course, I said. I understand the situation. I know precisely what to make for you two. I will make 2 delicious virgin mojitos. Very well, the celebrity said. I returned to the bar. My manager screamed at the busboy. The busboy left a speck of dust on the floor. I put mint leaves into 2 mason jars. I added simple syrup. The manager shoved the busboy into the wall near the bar counter. I filled the 2 mason jars up with ice. The manager threatened to kill the busboy. The manager threatened to pummel the busboy into the street's culvert. Then the manager went into the break room. I poured club soda into the mason jars. The hostess looked at me with a concerned stare. She was slim and malnourished. You could see the indentations of her bone along her forearm. I placed a mint sprig into each of the mason jars for the aesthetic. I garnished the drinks with a lime wheel. I dipped my finger into both the mason jars. I tasted the concoction. I explained to the busboy how that was how our manager behaved. It was his personality. He really does care about you. He won't actually kill you. The busboy nodded. This was a new busboy. The last busboy died from severe injuries after an 18-wheeler clobbered him into the side of the road. I donated $118,000 to his charity fund, which was nothing to me. Still, the donation was considered generous, since the injured busboy likely wouldn't have made that much money in his entire life. I forgot what the taste of the drink tasted like. I tasted the concoction again. It tasted decent. The finger I used to taste the drink was the one I recently cut. My blood drenched the Band-Aid on my finger. Perhaps the drink would have a more desirable uniqueness, since I was in fact a descendant of a rare island tribe, and my blood was supposedly rare. Still, the taste of the drink could be more profound, I thought. I considered the ingredient my manager sold on the side. My manager didn't care what I did. He said that. He said I could take the celebrity into the restaurant's bathroom for the rest of the shift, for all he cared. I took the packet out of my pocket. I tasted the salt-sized rock in the packet. It tasted peculiar. It tasted tasteless. I thought it would add texture to the celebrity's virgin mojito. I took out the cutting board. I cut out the pieces of the salt-sized rock. I pinched the contents and put some into each drink. I tasted the drinks again. My Band-Aid fell in one of the drinks. The taste of the drink tasted pretty nice. I took my Band-Aid out of the drink and put it in the other, so as to provide balance. Then I took my Band-Aid out of the drink and dropped it on the floor. The busboy would sweep it up later. He had to, or else he would be berated by our manager. Behind the bar, I bumped into the hostess. I felt out of sorts. I didn't feel like myself. My head felt empty. I didn't even feel like a real person. I bumped into the hostess, and she slipped on the floor. In an effort to recover, she stepped to the side. She stepped into the mop bucket, which the manager ordered the busboy to put in that specific spot. Immediately, the hostess rolled into the break room. She was no longer in view. I was too busy to pay attention. She tumbled down the stairs. I heard glass shatter. I heard metal clank. I heard boisterous screams. A blender screeched and stopped screeching. Sirens went off. The hostess must have caused quite a commotion. Luckily, the celebrity and her friend were seated outside, where they couldn't hear anything. I brought the mocktails over to the celebrity. On the way, I dropped the packet of salt-sized rocks on the floor. The busboy would re-sweep the floor, so it didn't matter. I set the 2 drinks on the table. The celebrity was in the midst of a conversation with her friend. I listened in on the conversation. "Here you go," I said. "So, yes, I hired him as a groundskeeper. He's still getting the hang of everything. It took him forever to get the lawnmower started. He pulled the chain and pulled the chain. After he got it started, he took a break. He's a very valuable worker, though. I know he will be. And the worst part is he was innocent. The whole time he was innocent." "How do you know?" the celebrity asked. "I can tell. He confessed he was not involved in the robbery. He was so honest. He knew exactly how it happened. He described the whole robbery and the murder in such visceral detail. He explained the whole layout of the scene. The victim was shot in the chest, hand, and foot. He heard the bullet rip through the bone marrow. The bank teller pressed the button. The bank robbers went ballistic. The bank robbers were surrounded by the police. My new groundskeeper happened to wear the same bandana as the bank robbers, so he was arrested. The police found him by the door. He calmly counted his change. He had cents in his hand when the police dragged him away from the scene in handcuffs. He had 2 and 5. That was the exact amount and exact denominations of change stated in his police report. I trust him. He spoke like someone who hadn't killed someone. He told the truth. I could tell. I walked a few yards away. I stared at the road. I watched the rain fall on the side of the road. A stream developed along the culvert. I heard the rain fall on the green awning. The raindrops sounded like BB gun pellets rapidly hitting a target. I heard the fuzzy, distant sounds of the celebrity and her friend's conversation. And the politician said no to the bribe. He said no. Can you believe that? Well, I will make sure that he gets what he deserves. I turned towards the celebrity's table and saw her take a sip of her drink. She waved at me to come over. "Is everything treating you well?" She stared up at me. She smiled her glinting smile. She really did have the ability to make her smile glint. You could get away with anything due to her attractiveness. She could murder an innocent person, and the whole justice system would surely turn its head. Her pupils dilated excessively. For a moment, I felt the dopamine production in her brain increasingly increasing. Somehow I could feel it. Somehow I felt precisely how she felt in that instant. "This drink is incredibly tasty. This is the best non-alcoholic drink I ever had since I became sober." She scratched her arm. She grinned. She clenched her teeth. She drank the rest of her drink in one gulp. "I like this drink so much. I love this drink. This drink is the best ever. Hands down. Can you please make me another one, precisely the way you made this one?" "Yes. Yes, I can," I said. I went back to the bar to construct the drinks again. I recalled my manager told me, "I don't care how you do it. All I need you to do is ensure that that woman there, the one with the red fleece, has an unbelievably pleasurable dining experience at a restaurant. You are welcome to take her into the restaurant's bathroom for the rest of your shift, for all I care. I don't care how you do it. I know your methods get results." I filled 2 mason jars with ice, simple syrup, mint leaves, and club soda. I put the ice in first and pushed the mint leaves to the bottom of the drink with my fingers. I plopped a mint sprig into one of the mason jars. I laughed about something random I thought in my head. I laughed again. I completely forgot what I was doing. Then I remembered. I felt so silly. I laughed and laughed, over and over again. I didn't even remember what was so funny. I found the packet of salt-sized rocks in the dustpan in the break room. I licked one of the tiny rocks. It still had the same taste, the same tasteless taste. I diced it up. I drizzled the bits into the drink and traced some around the edge of the glass with my fingers. The edge of the glass was a touch red from my dried blood. I delivered the drinks. The celebrity and her friend drank them immediately. They asked me to make 2 more drinks. I went back and forth from the bar and to the table multiple times. One time, I stumbled over on the way back to the break room. I face-planted. I felt pretty out of it. My manager helped me up and said, "Come on, I got you. You got this." I did not feel well. My doctor's appointment earlier that day took a toll on me, physically speaking. He let me lean on his shoulders as he helped me into the break room. My manager was a kind-hearted individual. He kissed me on the mouth when we arrived in the break room. It was a tender moment. He fondled my arms, my shoulders, and my genitalia. I didn't mind at all. My mind was in an empty microwave, waiting for something to heat up. As my manager put his hands all over my body, the chef personally brought out the food for the celebrity's table. I watched her graciously receive the food. It was as if she completely forgot what she ordered. She blew a kiss to the chef. The chef smirked. It all worked out well. My manager left me passed out on the floor of the break room, partly unclothed. He kindly put a pile of used dinner napkins under my head as a pillow. When I woke up, my manager appeared panicked. He frantically looked around for something. He asked me if I knew what happened to it. He didn't explain what it was. I told him I didn't know. He approached the busboy. He murmured something to him, with his mouth pressed against the busboy's ear. I stood up. I pulled my pants back up to my waist. The hostess approached me. She showed me a coffee cup and a coffee mug, recently sanitized and rinsed by the dishwasher. The coffee cup was stuck inside the larger coffee mug. The coffee mug was larger than the coffee cup. When she gave me the two pieces of glassware, she peered over them, focused and intrigued. Both of them were still warm. I tried to softly tug the coffee cup out of the coffee mug in an attempt to separate them from each other. There was a slight nick of the ceramic material. The two pieces of glassware remained together. The hostess put her hands over mine. She looked up at me. She wore a medical mask over her face for her terminal medical condition. The place she originated from was polluted to such an extent her life expectancy was surely less than a year. I looked down at her. I used my thumb to remove the lacy strap on her mask along her right ear, while I used the rest of my fingers to lightly hold down the mask against her face. I thought she was finally letting me see how the toxic radiation permanently deformed her face. She didn't say anything. With her eyes, I could tell she was frightened. I felt it vicariously. Somehow, I felt what she felt vicariously. Maybe this was a side effect of the experimental medical treatment I received at my doctor's appointment earlier that day. I fit the lace back around her ear, and I pressed my lips against her forehead. Actually, I missed her forehead entirely. Instead, I pressed my mouth against the espresso machine behind her. I felt discombobulated. The hostess left the break room. I embraced the espresso machine in a seductive fashion. I leaned into the espresso machine. The espresso machine fell off the counter. The busboy ran into the break room to clean it up. My manager called me over. I stumbled to the bar. My manager shared the good news. The celebrity commended the chef and the staff for such an impressive dining experience. Apparently, the celebrity kissed the busboy. She apparently stuck her entire tongue into his mouth. Then she left. My manager explained this to me, and he went on to give me numerous compliments. "You are the greatest. You are gold behind the bar. You inspire me. Look at you. Look at your extraordinary body. You are an absolute specimen. You are the real deal. You are the reason this restaurant has a future. You are everything that busboy wishes he could have. Look at that pathetic kid. Look at all his shortcomings. He is absolutely repulsive compared to you. Let's get him in here. Hey, busboy, get over here this instant." The busboy quickly paced over to us and stood in front of us with a broom and dustpan in hand. "Busboy, look at this fine specimen. Bow down to them. This is your supreme ruler." The busboy took a knee and bowed down in front of me. As he slowly looked up at me, he asked, "My Excellency, is there anything I can do for you?" Calmly, I put my hand on the busboy's shoulder. I felt his sweat through his shirt. "As your supreme ruler," I said, "I will lead you to greatness. You will have no need to worry anymore. You will live forever. You will never die. I promise you. I promise you 100 times." The busboy's face lit up. "Thank you very much, My Excellency. I will follow you to the last gasp, with truth and loyalty. In order to show my appreciation, I will clean the entire restaurant, and I will patiently wait here for you in the morning for you to teach me my first lesson tomorrow, My Excellency." I won't sleep until I hear your next order." "Excellent idea, busboy," I said. At this, my manager slurred something inaudible, and the busboy scurried away. "Beautiful work," my manager said. My manager kissed me on the cheek. It was quite a slobbery kiss indeed. "Now let's celebrate. Here's a beer. Here's the best one on draft. This one's on me. Actually, that one is on the last busboy's charity fund. He's dead anyway, so whatever." I took the pint of beer from my manager. I drank it in one gulp. He applauded me. I nodded and stumbled backwards. I knocked over most of the glasses on the shelf behind me. It wasn't ideal. My manager and I were in the middle of such a meaningful moment, and I ruined it by demolishing an abundance of expensive glassware. Sorry, I said. All right. It's all right. Look, I'll break some stuff too." My manager pushed over more glasses. He knocked glasses off the shelves on the wall next to the bar. He pushed glasses off the bar counter. He slid glasses out from the cabinet behind the bar. Glass shards covered the floor. The busboy passed by and watched. My manager took a swig of a top-shelf vodka bottle, laughed, and chucked the bottle at the busboy. The busboy ducked. The bottle broke against the wall behind him. The busboy remained unscathed. It was a joke, I understood. The rest of the night blurred along. My manager and I trashed the entire restaurant. We drank heavily together. He poured me numerous pints of beer. Together, we drank the pints of beer in one gulp. After we drained the keg, we drank the drinks the patrons left behind. It was fun. It was fun tasting the patrons' backwash. By tasting the backwash, I knew exactly what entree the patron ate. I knew exactly how they felt as they ate it. I tasted hints of salmon, Brussels sprouts, lardoons, etc., in their beers and cocktails and liquor served neat. It was a fun way to spend the rest of the shift with my manager. Later that night, the celebrity returned. She ecstatically danced around the dining area. She stood on the bar counter. She danced on the bar counter. The chef stood behind the bar while he was about to clock out. The chef saw the celebrity dance and clapped along. It was quite a show. Was this her way of showing her appreciation for our restaurant? In a loud, commanding voice, she said, "Oh, words of power. To kill 1,000 men. Come let us away and levy men. It's war that must assuage this tyrant's pride." She leapt off the bar counter and knocked over a bar stool. She knocked over the other bar stools. She slid the glasses, napkins, and silverware off the tables. She dismantled the tables. She punched through the windows of the restaurant. She pulled all the pages of the story the hostess had translated off the wall in the break room. She wrecked everything. She left the pages with all the different languages scattered around. She did all this sober. I was pleased to see she still knew how to have fun, even though she didn't drink anymore. I didn't remember how everything ended that night. The next morning, I woke up in the bathroom. I was entirely nude, aside from the celebrity's red fleece. In my pocket, I found a phone number written on a receipt. Somehow, the entire restaurant was immaculate. The windows were repaired. The floor was spotless. All the tables were fixed. The torn and ripped pages of the hostess's story were taped together and set back on the wall of the break room. Some parts of the pages were taped with the wrong corresponding language. The busboy cleaned everything up. The busboy was a talented and dedicated employee. That next night, the busboy was announced missing, so we hired a new busboy. That fall, most of our busboys died or disappeared. That happened with busboys at a restaurant. Luckily, even the most talented and dedicated busboys were easily replaceable at a restaurant, so it didn't matter. We were a reputable restaurant with celebrities among the usual clientele. We received countless applicants for the busboy's position, and the position was filled before this particular busboy was also pronounced dead. Apparently, the busboy was killed. Of course, it was an emotional experience for me. In all honesty, I didn't know this particular busboy all that well. I didn't even know the first letter of his first name. Still, the fact that it felt as though we were about to share a pleasant relationship before his untimely death tore me apart. I wasn't afforded the opportunity to get to know him before he passed. I was the supreme ruler, and he was my apprentice. I intended to lead him to greatness. If it was any consolation, my manager spoke highly of this busboy after he passed away. As a means to honor the busboy, My manager set a $118,000 bounty on the busboy's killer. It happened to be the same amount of money left over from the last busboy's charity fund. That busboy was already dead, so it was a pragmatic way to use residual cash. There was a killer on the loose, and we desperately needed to find them. Days passed, and yet no one brought forth any information regarding the busboy's killer. So my manager decided to use the bounty to take care of the matter himself. He left his post at the restaurant. It was a noble thing to do. He promised to avenge the busboy himself. He vowed not to rest until he found the busboy's killer.